good credit score to get a house or apartment. You need a good credit score to even buy a phone. To buy a phone. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I am Balisa. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. Please make sure that you have hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I post another video. And if you're new here, join the family. Click the subscribe button and let's get to this video. In light of it being graduation season right now, in South Africa, I don't know if it's like that for everywhere in the world, but in South Africa it is graduation season. So in light of it being graduation season, first of all, congratulations to everyone that's graduating. It's a monumental time in anybody's life, so congrats, whether it is that you're graduating from undergrad, post-grad, you're doing your honors, masters, PhD, whatever it is, just graduating is always such a huge accomplishment. So congratulations to you. You did the damn thing. Okay. But anyway, in light of it being graduation season, I decided to talk about life post-grad. So I'm graduating in May and early May. And so I wanted to talk about what these past few months have been like since I've finished school. Yeah, get ready for a rant. So if you don't want to hear me rant, maybe click to all my other videos, but I'm about to go off because I've been going through it. I don't know about you guys if you've experienced the stuff that I'm going to mention today, but I've been going through it. Also, before I get started, just a quick heads up. Right now it is a school holiday, so I have my cousin and my brother here. So if you're hearing kids playing, making noise, whatever, just know that that's them in the background. I'm so sorry if you're hearing them, but they don't understand the concept of be quiet, I'm filming. So even though I said it, I know it's not gonna happen. Secondly, I feel like every time I sit down to film, someone's mowing their lawn, so I'm sorry about that if you're hearing the sound of someone mowing their lawn. I closed my windows, so I hope it's not too loud. Anyway, let's get to it. I wrote down a list because I'm ready to go off. First of all, after finishing uni, I feel like I was thrown into this deep end of new responsibilities. Like, obviously when you're in uni, you grow up really fast. Because like you need to adapt to the new changes, and like being a high school student and being a uni student, it's a whole other ball game. So you do have to kind of grow up quickly, even more so if you live in a dorm or whatever. I lived at home, so I don't have that experience, but I know that you even grow up more significantly when you are in a dorm. But now that I'm out, I feel like I was just thrown into this deep end of new responsibilities. Like, for example, I cannot depend on my parents for stuff anymore. Like, it even feels wrong. I mean, I know they would do it if I ask, but it even, like, I feel wrong for asking for stuff. Like, I feel like I need to go shopping for my own clothes. I feel like I need to take care of my own medical bills, like all that stuff. Like, so this is just me. Maybe if someone else is in my position, they don't feel bad about asking their parents. But I feel like I shouldn't be at a place now where I'm asking my parents for anything. I should be doing it myself. So it puts me in a bit of a pickle when I can't do stuff and I really need something and I won't ask for it. It's like, I don't know, it's just a tricky thing for me. But yeah, I feel like I cannot depend on my parents anymore because I'm grown. I freaking finished university, you know? So I should be able to stand on my own 2 feet and do what I need to do. And if I can't do it at the time, I need to make means to get stuff done for myself, you know? So that's one of the things. And then you have to make your own decisions. And what I mean by this is when you're making your own decisions, it's not like I mean, you can still consult your parents or a guardian or whoever for like guidance, because they've obviously lived longer than you have. They've experienced the world longer than you have. So you can ask for guidance, but at the end of the day, it's your decisions. And every decision that you make is going to impact your life, um, and the general trajectory of where you're headed. So every decision you make, no matter how small or big, I feel builds up to something, and it's gonna build up to where you're gonna be when you're 40 years old. And that to me is intense. Like you have to make all of these decisions, right? In preparation for the life that you dream of, or in preparation for the life that you want to build. So even like the smallest stuff of you wanting to stay in bed whole day and watch Netflix, you can't do that if you're trying to be at a certain level by a certain age. You do what I mean? Like you can't slack. You have to make the decision to get up and go do your own thing. If you want to work towards, I don't know, moving out, that's, you have to make conscious decisions every single day so that you build towards that. Like every, for me, I don't know if you guys relate, but for me, I feel like every decision that I make is a build up towards something. So if I decide to slack for an entire day, that's a decision that I've made, and it's going to delay where I want my life to go. Like I don't know, it feels heavy because you're essentially now in control of your life. Your parents, your guardians, everyone can lead you a certain way. Not lead you, but advise you to go a certain way. But at the end of the day, it's your decisions. Like you decide what you're gonna do. You decide how you're spending your day. You decide how you're gonna work towards things. You're gonna decide. Like everything is on you, and you can't blame it on anybody else. You can't say, oh, this happened because so and so decided that I should do this. Like, no, baby, it's not. Yeah, so for me, I just feel like there's like a heavier, there's just this gravity to everything in my life, and I feel like heavy. I feel heavy. That's it. I don't know how else to say it. And like you have to learn how to build your own structure, because if you think about it, we went from living a very structured life from the time, I think I'm gonna say 18 years, I don't know if I'm counting this correctly, plus minus 18 years of being in school. The entire education system is structured, right? You get up in the morning and you go to school. When you go to school, you go for all your lessons. There's a lunch break at a certain time, or in a certain time of the year, it's test season, so you do your tests and exams. Like there's a structure to everything. And then suddenly, when you're done, like when you're out of uni, it's like, okay, go now, little bird, fly away. Figure it out yourself now. So you go from the structure to see for yourself. And I think for most people, that's kind of like a shock. As fun as it is to not be living structured and feeling like you need to follow a certain routine, it's also a weird place to be in, because you've been like that essentially since you could remember. Because I don't know if anyone remembers their toddler ages. Some people, when they're toddlers, bro, they're in creche, or what do they call them? Preschool? Preschool, not preschool. What is it called? Daycare. You go to a daycare, right? Some people as toddlers, they go to a daycare because both their parents are working. So even in a daycare situation, that's structured. There's a nap time, there's an eating time, there's a playtime. Like, so you go from all of the structure to see for yourself, and it's odd. It's such an odd thing to be in. So I feel like the thing that helps is building a structure for yourself. Now, that means that you can allocate the time for freedom, a time for relaxation, a time for like self-care, all that stuff, but you also have to allocate time for yourself to work, especially if you aren't employed anyway, right? like that's even worse. If you aren't employed any, like I think if you get a job, then there's still some kind of structure to that because you work your 9 to 5, right? Or 4 to, what is it, 8 to 4, 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, right? You work your working hours, then you come back and then you like see what you do for the day. That's still some kind of structure. But if you aren't working anywhere, you really have to be very disciplined in building a structure for yourself, because if you don't, you're literally gonna just be floating around in this world doing whatever with no sense of direction, So I think it's very important that one builds a structure for themselves. Um, Otherwise, honestly, it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be a mess. And I'm glad that I've always been a person who's liked having a routine. Like I love being sporadic and like living in the moment, all that stuff. But even my live in the moments was scheduled. Like the times where I was living in the moments and I was being spontaneous, I scheduled that. Like I'm a person who works on routines and schedules, and that's that. So if it's not scheduled somewhere, I feel off about doing it. The kids are playing. I don't know if you guys can hear them. I hope you don't. But yeah. Anyway, the next thing that I've come to the realization of in post-grad is learning financial literacy. So they don't teach you this in school, and I don't understand why they don't teach anybody financial literacy when you are in school. I feel like it's so important. Like that is one of the fundamental things that a human being has to know, right? In order to live in this world. If you don't know how to manage your finances and you know allocate it in the right places, you're gonna be a bum. And that's the honest truth. So even that, even before even earning money, maybe you don't even know how to earn money properly if you don't know financial literacy. So I think it's such an important thing that should be taught in school, but it's not. And that is one thing that I had to come to the realization of very early after finishing school. Like you have to start learning about not debit cards, credit cards and savings and retirement funds and just all of these things that I never ever thought of before until I finished uni, and I was now like trying to figure out where am I going, how do I get a car, how do I get an apartment, like there's all of these things that I didn't know of. So if you are in high school and you're watching this, please start now learning financial literacy. It's going to help you so much, and you're not going to feel like you're drowning when you get out into the world per se. Like for example, I didn't know that you need a credit score essentially to do everything. You need to have a good credit score to get a car. You need a good credit score to get a house or apartment. You need a good credit score to even buy a phone. To buy a phone, bruh. Like you can't just go and buy, unless if you're buying it cash, then like upfront, then that's different. But if you want to get a phone on contract, you can't do that unless you have a credit score. That's just mad to me. And nobody cared to mention this. Not in school. Actually, that's it. Not in school. So there's just so many things about finances and financial literacy as a whole that no one tells you about, that no one teaches you about, that I feel everyone needs to know. So if they're not talking, actually they probably aren't talking about it in school, but ask around, ask at home, ask your parents, older siblings, anybody that is willing to share information, do it. Yo, we live in a world with freaking Google. Go on Google and start teaching yourself these things, because when you leave university and you like start working, there's all of these things that you don't know of or don't know about that's going to come to you as a shock, and you're going to feel very helpless and out of it and feel like you don't know anything and feel very stupid. I say this because that's how I felt. Even managing taxes, how to pay your taxes, I still don't know that. To this day, I'm still trying to figure that out, and I think I've been taking it slow because I'm not working yet, but I need to know how to pay off my taxes, how that works. Like, there's just so many things, guys, and I'm just emphasizing learn financial literacy. now. If you're like if you're still in school, please just learn it now, teach yourself now, so that you at least have some standing ground when you leave university, you know. That's just me. Another thing is to learn how to budget and learning about good and bad debts. All of that, guys, all of that I've been trying to teach myself. Right now, I've been teaching myself to budget, and guys, honestly, game changer, life changer. If you are not budgeting your money, budget your money. I promise you, you feel so in control, and it's the most satisfying feeling when you come to the end of the month and you realize that you stayed in budget the entire month. Like, it's the most. I don't know if that's me growing up, and that I'm finding like such pleasure from these stupid things or like these small things. But honestly, budget your money like before the end of the month, budget for the next month, and then at the end of that month that you're budgeting for, go back and see everything, see your expenditure, and see how you spent your money. And I promise you, when you stay in budgets, it's the greatest feeling. I will say, if you're budgeting, try to do, I think it's called the zero, it's not the zero method, I forgot what it's called, but the point is, it needs to, like, when you're budgeting your money, by the end of the budget, you have to get to the total of zero. And it doesn't mean you don't have money, it means that all the money that you earn has been allocated. It has a place to go, it's doing something. So that's my 2 cents about budgeting. If you aren't budgeting now, honestly, do it. I promise you, it's a game changer. Take it from me, I know. Okay, another thing that I've learned since leaving uni, um, or another thing that I found difficult, it's learning how to adult. Yeah, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but like learning how to buy a car, what you need when you're gonna buy a car, learning how to buy a house, an apartment, uh, learning how to uh, learning how to build a good credit score. Like, what do you do? Because I don't know if you guys know this, but in order to grow your credit score, you need to have debt. And I didn't know that the way to grow a credit score is to have debt. And I had my bank card for, I think, 3 years, and I went to the bank to try and check what my credit score was, and they were like, it's on zero. And I was like, but how, Sway? And the lady was like, oh, you don't have debt. And I was like, yeah, you're not supposed to have debt. She was like, no, in order to grow a credit score, you need to acquire debt and pay it off in a timely manner, and pay it off well on time, be on track with your payments, and that is what builds a good credit score. And I was like, oh my gosh, my entire life my grandmother would drill into me that you should never ever ever have debt. Never have debt. It's the worst thing you can do for yourself. If you have debt, you're setting yourself up for failure. But guys, there's good debt and there's bad debt, and I'm still trying to figure out which is which. But I'm just gonna let you know that at least this will get you some kind of, I guess, like a starting point. There's good debt, there's bad debt, and good debt is what helps you build a credit score. Thank me later. But yeah, there's just all of these things that you have to now figure out for yourself that you never ever thought about, that has never crossed your mind. Because I mean, when you're young, you know, you're in the safety of your home and all that stuff, and people are paying for the bills, people are paying for groceries, all that stuff. So you don't like deep the severity of everything until until you get to the point where you actually have to do it, and it's like, what? And this brings me to like living expenses. I'm still living at home, and I wanted to be out of the house as soon as I'd finished uni, and I wanted to be living in an apartment and doing my own thing, just getting my independence. And I was brought to this harsh reality that humbled me very quickly, because living expenses are insane. I remember the day where bread used to be 10 rand 50, and now it's damn near 20, 21 rand. So just, I say this to say, living expenses just outside of your bills, like, rent and your utility bills, groceries are freaking insane. And I'm complaining about it and I'm still at home, so I have pumped the brake on wanting to move out for now, because I honestly wanted to move out alone. I wanted to live alone. I wanted to do my own thing. And I'm now realizing that unless I am earning very, very well, um, which is not always the case, especially if you are in an entry level type of position. But unless I'm earning really well, I cannot have the lifestyle that I was talking about, that I've been wanting. At least not for now. I'm not gonna say I can't. For now, for right now, I can't. So if I were to move out, I would need to have the roommate type of situation, which is not ideal for me because I really wanted to be alone. But I would need to live with somebody else, because you need a multiple income household in order to make it out here. Um, because your living expenses are insane, and that is something that I never had to pay attention to because I didn't need to. But when you leave university and you start trying to figure out how to be a functioning adult, you realize that being an adult is a scam, and we shouldn't do it, but we don't have a choice. You kind of just thrown into it, and you have to deal with it. But it's hard to deal with it when you don't know what you're dealing with, and that's been where I've been. That's where I've been at. It's like, yeah, yeah. So now let me talk about finding a job and starting your career, right? So when everybody leaves university, they have this expectation that they're gonna, graduate, get a job, get their dream job in another city, and live their dreams, live the life of their 20s, and um, get a car and all of that stuff. And for some people, that is the case. Kudos to you, congratulations. But for some of us, that is not the reality. And finding a job in South Africa, especially, is incredibly difficult, because just the job climate in general in South Africa is trash. Majority of the youth is unemployed after they finish university. So I had already known that to be a fact, statistically, when I was still in uni. So while I was still in uni, I was applying for jobs, because it's like, okay, let me try and get myself a head start in finding a job, right? So I did that, went on a couple of interviews. Some of the stuff was promising, but obviously I'm still not working formally anyway. So you kind of come to this harsh realization of, okay, if you're I'm speaking in the South African context, right? This might apply to you if you're out of the country, but right now I'm speaking in the South African context, right? So you come to this realization that, okay, well, getting a job here is incredibly difficult, and even in those few jobs that are available, they want people with 2, 3, 10 years of experience, and you only just graduated. So it's like, well, what do I do? Where do I go, right? And it's one thing that has been incredibly frustrating for me, because it's like, well, wouldn't you want someone that's fresh out of school, because they have all of this book knowledge? I understand people also need to have actual experience, but that's something that you acquire. But if you know what you know, and you know it well, I think you can make things happen. You can work, right? But anyway, that's just me. But just the thing of people wanting or companies wanting people to have experience is it has been the most frustrating thing. And I've even gotten to a point where even if it says they want people with 10 years of experience, I still apply, because at this point I will take anything. As long as it's in my field, I'll take anything that comes along. So coming to the realization of how, because like they tell you that the working or the job climate in South Africa is terrible, but once you're actually in it and you're trying to find the job and you realize, damn, there's literally nothing here. It's such a harsh thing to see and to experience, and it can depress you so bad. And I've dealt with my fair share, and I've dealt with my fair share of post-grad anxiety or post-grad, I'm not gonna say the D word, post-grad anxiety, right? And I did like my getting out of a slump video, I think a week or two ago. It's probably uploaded, so if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. But a majority or a bigger reason why I was in that slump to begin with is because, like, realizing how difficult it is to get a job in South Africa, it made me so demotivated and so stressed out and so anxious. And like, when you have these expectations of what your life is going to be like and how things are going to move, and it's not that, it's like the harshest thing to wake up from. It's like you had this amazing dream and someone woke you up abruptly and it went poof, it went away. And that's like the best way I can describe the feeling. It's like you have this dream, you have this expectation of how your life is going to move, and then once you get to the point where it's supposed to go in this direction and it doesn't go in that direction, it's like you feel shit about yourself. It's like, well, maybe I'm not good enough. Well, maybe I wasn't working hard enough. Like, there's so many things that mentally you go through, and it's difficult. It's very difficult. So I just want to say to anyone that is feeling that way, or to anyone that is going through that right now, honestly, you're not alone. And I feel like it's such a common thing that most people go through, and you just need to give yourself more grace. And I'm saying this as my piece of advice to someone that might be going through this, but I'm also telling myself I should take my advice as well. Like, give yourself grace. Things aren't always gonna go how you want them to go, but they will eventually fall into place. It's never gonna be at your time. It's gonna be God's timing, and there's no better timing in this universe except for God's timing. So you plan and plan and plan, but God will laugh because He knows the direction and the trajectory of your life, and you don't. You just need to trust in the bigger plan and trust that things will work out for you the way that they're supposed to work out for you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But yeah, you have all of these expectations, and sometimes you see people that were your peers, like the people that you went to school with. Some are like traveling and they aren't working, but they're just traveling and living their life and enjoying their 20s or whatever. And then there's other people that immediately got jobs and they're just living their best life. They got jobs, they got a pet, they moved out of their home, some are getting engaged, and you're just sitting there like, okay, congrats. And it's like, you don't want to be jealous. Like, for me, I don't get jealous, but obviously there is that bit of envy that it's like, dang, when is my time coming? When is my moment coming? You know, I never get tired of clapping and cheering for my friends, ever. I love it. But at the same time, it's like, well, when is my moment coming, God? When is my moment coming? So, just comparison is the thief of joy. That is like one saying that I believe in so much because it's true. You know, you have to stay in your own lane, right? In your own lane. Things aren't gonna look the same for everybody. We're all in our 20s, but our 20s don't look the same. And it never will. Your life will never be the same as the next person's. And when you compare, It doesn't help, you know. For all you know, like from the outside looking in, you feel like they have it all together, they have it all figured out, but they might be looking at you like, dang, I wish I wasn't working because I hate this job, you know. I don't know, but yeah, just you deal with all of this. Like, there's this expectation that you have for yourself, for life, for how things are gonna turn out, and it doesn't turn out that way, and it demotivates you. Then you start, and when you demotivate you start comparing yourself to others who are your peers and what they're doing, and it's like, well, dang, why isn't it happening for me? It's like there's just all of this anxiety that surrounds the expectations that you have for yourself, and yeah, and also this anxiety around having to adult. I've never had to adult. Now I have to, and I'm expected to swim. You're like thrown into this ocean and you're expected to swim. It's like, well, you've been in school and now figure it out yourself. And it's like, school doesn't give you the knowledge that you need for life. I know what the theorem of Pythagoras is, but I don't know how to pay my taxes. Like, what? And I've never had to look at the theorem of Pythagoras ever since I was in high school. I've never touched it, never looked at it again, never thought about it. But one thing that I'm gonna have to do for the rest of my life is pay taxes, and I don't know how. Like, I feel like we aren't equipped to know and handle adulting. You're just expected to know it. When you hit a certain age, you're just expected to know. And that for me is anxiety inducing. Yeah. Okay. And then the last thing that I've experienced ever since leaving uni is trying to find balance in everything that I do. Specifically finding balance between building this dream life for myself where I have financial freedom and stuff, but also still being able to live in the moment and enjoying the now, enjoying my 20s, making memories while I'm in my 20s. So, like, you're stuck in this weird limbo of grind, 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 so that you can retire early and live your life and enjoy, you know, whatever your life will be at that point. Whether it's enjoy your life with your kids, enjoy your life with your partner, or travel, whatever it is, but like, you want to grind, 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 so that you have this certain lifestyle that you are wanting to have for yourself when you hit a certain age. At the same time, I want to live, I want to enjoy my now. I want to make memories in my 20s so that I have stories to tell my kids, like, yo, when I was 22, I done did this. Like, you know, I want to look back and have memories and have these fun stories that I'm going to feel nostalgic, about telling 20 years from now. So it's like, how do you do both? I feel like there's no in between. I don't think there's an in between. It's like, sleep is for the dead. And anytime I'm not doing anything, I feel like I am prolonging the lifestyle from coming. It's like, if I'm resting, then I'm not gonna have that lifestyle early enough. And it also brings me to realizing that in this world, you need to have multiple streams of income if you're trying to get anywhere. Otherwise, you're going to be working until you're 16. So I've been also trying to figure out, okay, what are some streams of income that I can get for myself? Some that I can do now while I'm trying to apply for jobs, others that I can do while I'm working. But what I'm trying to say is, you cannot have one stream of income and expect to have a good or a certain level of a lifestyle, unless if you're okay with like being middle class, you know, just comfortable, then maybe you won't really need multiple streams. But I'm trying to be like extra comfortable. So I'm realizing that I need to have multiple streams of income in order to make that happen. And I need to have passive income as well in order to acquire these things that are necessary liabilities. What I mean by necessary liabilities is like your car. Car is a liability, but it's necessary. But like, if you have a passive income, it makes it better or like easier to get a car. Do you know what I mean? So I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I make all of this money? But then when you're trying to figure out how to make all of this money, you're stuck in grind mode. And then you end up missing the now. And I'm very scared that one day, because like I'm the type of person who keeps my head down and I want to work and I want to figure out how to make the money that I need to make, because I need to provide a life for my kids that is better than the life that I had, right? That's like my biggest goal in this world, is to provide a life for my children that I did not have. A life that I dreamt of having as a kid that I didn't have. So with that being my goal, and it's always been my goal, by the way, always been my goal. So I'm always keeping my head down, trying to figure out how to work, how to make that life possible, not only for myself, but for my future kids. So I'm scared that I'm going to wake up one day and be 35 and realize that I have missed life, that I've not lived life, that I've not experienced anything, that I've not made memories, that I've not enjoyed the now. And I was like so stuck in grind. But yeah, you realize that you didn't live, and I don't want that for myself. So I'm struggling finding the balance between grinding and also being in the now. And it's very difficult to do both. And anytime I try to live in the now, I can't help but feel this guilt that I should be doing more. I should be building towards something. So yeah, but I need to find that balance, because yeah, I want to build that life for myself and my kids, but at the same time, I need to enjoy being young. I'm not going to be young forever, and I don't want, by the time that I can do all the stuff that I want to do, travel and see the world, I'm like in my 40s and my back aches, and I've got like all these health issues, God forbid. And now, even though I'm traveling, I'm getting the chance to travel, it's an uncomfortable thing for me. I need to find a balance. That's the moral of the story right now. I'm trying to find the balance. But yeah, guys, that's just a few of the stuff that I have experienced since leaving school. And these are all like the harsh realities that I had to come to terms with. And I hope that things work out, and I know I'm gonna like learn as I go, but I hope that happens very quickly for me, because I'm tired of feeling like I'm being the rug is being swept from under me all the time that I learn something new. Like it's such an exhausting, like it's an exciting place to be in, because like you're just being open to the world, and it's like the world is your oyster, but at the same time the world is your oyster, but like you don't know the oyster, right? It's like you don't know life, you don't know life, you don't know how to live life, how to live it properly, how to live it responsibly with money in your bank, and you're not living paycheck to paycheck. Like there's just so many things to learn that I am praying that I'm gonna grasp early on, so that I can live. That's just it. But yeah, guys, if you have enjoyed my rant about adulting and figuring out how to adult and figuring out life, please do like this video, and also drop a comment about any thoughts that you have, anything that you also may have experienced since leaving university or learning how to adult. And I'd love to have this conversation with others, because I know I cannot be the only one that's going through this or feeling this way. I feel like it's such a shell shock. Like there's so many things happening that you need to like grasp everything quickly. Stressful. But yeah, guys, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. I love you guys. Bye.